chant that I wrote called Divine Order. And I hope that once you get the hang of it, you will sing along with me. My life is in divine order. I trust in the divine. My life is in divine order. I listen with my heart and mind, and I know everything is gonna be alright. My life is in divine order. I trust in the divine. My life is in divine order. I listen with my heart and mind, and I know everything is gonna be alright. Let's do that again. My life is in divine order. I trust in the divine. My life is in divine order. I listen with my heart and mind, and I know everything is gonna be alright. I place my trust in God. I place my trust in God. I place my trust in God. Sing that with me. I place my trust in God. I place my trust in God. I place my trust in God. And I know everything is gonna be alright. My life is in divine order. I trust in the divine. My life is in divine order. I listen with my heart and mind, and I know everything is gonna be alright.
Friends, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze for just a moment. Become aware of your breath. As we pause and we place our faith in divine order. That faculty that will allow us to know that everything is going to be all right. My life and all life is in divine order. Already, it's not being ordered, that it is present here and now in this moment of awareness. Even when I see no evidence of it. And with my physical eyes, it is sometimes challenging to see evidence of order. My life is in divine order. My life is in divine order. All life is in divine order. I can see this with my spiritual eyes when I anchor myself in my spiritual practice. When I pause, when I am mindful, when I become aware of my own projections, of my own shadows, when I become aware that I am not living from that internal spark, that place where Christ is in me. And when any of us cannot see the order with our spiritual eyes, I invite us all to return to the practice. And when we return to the stillness and the silence, just like that, we get directions. We become aware of what is ours to do, where we are to turn, where we need to be so that we can show up right on time. Divine order. So let's pause for just a moment and bring our full attention, our full awareness to that vast, unlimited place in consciousness that is illuminated with the spark of divinity, that is illuminated with the light and the love and the power and the presence of the One. That place where we are one with the One. Let's go there now. In the stillness and in the silence, in the oneness. There to just breathe and be and love. My life and all life is in divine order. My life and all life is in divine order. Seeing with my spiritual eyes, I know this is the truth. I place my faith in the divine. My life and all life is in divine order. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Alleluia. I found the message of this song just so poignant and truthful. It's a beautiful song by Arlissa called The House We Live In. I found a light between the cracks. I found a voice that shakes, can still fight back. No weapon drawn can speak my peace. So now I'm calling off this war inside of me. The words that we speak out loud become the house that we live in. The fire inside has the power to build up our bridges. There is no right side of wrong. Maybe it's time we all listen. How many poplar trees have made a sound when the branches bend and no one's around? I'm not the only way that shapes the shore, resting, riding the shoulders of all those who came before. The words that we speak out loud become the house that we live in. The fire inside has the power to build up our bridges. There is no right side of wrong. Maybe it's time we all answer the wake up call and listen. The love and the hate we give become the house we live in. The love and the hate we give become the house we live in. The love and the hate we give become the house that we live in. Answer the wake up call and listen.
The love and the hate we give becomes the house that we live in. That is pretty powerful, huh? And when we think about our scriptures, my Father's house has many mansions. The love and the hate we give becomes the house that we live in, becomes the consciousness that we live in. And so that is so appropriate today. Today I am finishing the series that we started several weeks ago on Birthing a New Reality, the book by Robert Brummett. As I was considering what image might come to mind, because this book is called Birthing a New Reality, and I didn't want to use a birthing image, right? That just and I ended up finding this, and I thought, wow, that to me that says it all, because it's about taking a leap. And we might get to that today, right? It's this probably young person, probably child, holding balloons, leaping, and the balloon's being pulled in a different direction. That's kind of like when we pause and we listen to the truth. When we see, these divine ideas of like justice and unity and healing and courage and compassion, like balloons getting pulled in the direction of the wind, the Spirit is pulling in a direction for the greatest and highest good, for the evolution of consciousness. I don't think that it's really enough now to just surrender. We hear this thought of spiritual surrender. And I don't think we can surrender anymore. I think not that we don't, surrender to the will of the one, that we don't surrender so that we can see divine order, but I think we have to leap in that direction. I think we have to take the leap to be the change, to embody the consciousness shift that we need to see in the world today. And while I'm using an image of a child, I want to be clear that what I'm talking about is spiritual maturity. A spiritual adulthood is allowing ourselves to be pulled in the direction of evolution even when it feels unstable. Because we believe in divine order. That's one of our teachings. And it was beautiful that Lisa brought up this thought, this idea, and this helped me choose which talk I'm going to give, because it's right here is that in Brummett's language in the book, he talks about the fact that evolution proceeds through fits and starts, and that it is directed by chaos. He writes, "We are poised at the threshold of a terrifying breakdown or a tremendous breakthrough in the evolution of consciousness. Perhaps these outcomes are not mutually exclusive. In order for there to be a breakthrough, I think there must be a breakdown of systems that have served a world that perhaps no longer exists." And let's be clear, let's know this truth, that breakdown is not failure. Breakdown is pressure. Breakthrough shows up often disguised as instability. Have y'all seen anything that you would say might be unstable in the world today? I mean, do you have enough fingers on two hands to count it all? We are not watching the end of something. We are participating in the labor of something new being born. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11, it says, "When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways." So let's talk for just a moment about childish spirituality. It's reactive. It blames. It has an identity that is built on opposition. It is avoidance, often disguised as positivity. Have you seen any blame or reactivity in the world and seen people lay it at the feet of their religion, their belief system? This isn't an us and them. Sometimes it's even us. Sometimes we do it too. Because remember, we still have our shadow. If we see that somebody else has done it, it might just mean that we have some stuff to heal. If it triggers us, if it's just an observation and we see, oh, That's one thing. But if it really pisses us off that they're doing that, if it makes me angry that people blame other people instead of taking ownership of their own reaction rather than responses to what's happening in the world, then it means I'm still blaming some people, some situations. A mature spirituality is grounded in accountability, in self-examination. Right? We know from our transcendentalists the unexamined life is not worth living. And so we must be willing to be accountable, to hold others accountable, and we must be willing to examine those thoughts, those ideas, those beliefs, those behaviors that we get locked into, that are habit, because for a long time they served who we thought we were or who we thought we wanted to be. And a mature spirituality requires that we have the courageousness to take action without hatred. Our actions must be grounded in love. Love as structure, not as sentimental fluff. Not love as, here's a box of candy that I got at the grocery store because I love you. But love that says, I'm going to stand beside you because I believe not only that you are fully human, but that you are fully divine in this moment, and the world needs to know that you are not alone. That kind of love that prompts us to stand with those who are oppressed, those who are facing food insufficiency, those who are facing bankruptcy because they can't pay for a medical procedure, those who are accused of sleeping their way to the top instead of saying they couldn't get promoted until men abused them and were satisfied enough that they would promote them. Accountability without blame. Let's start calling things what they are, and let's stand with the people who need not only a friend, not only an ally, but a warrior of love to be with them, to stand with them in the midst of systems that aren't working anymore. I've in a roundabout way said before, and if you've been around for a while, you'll know that I've said that if the God you believe in now is the same God that you believed in when you were 7 years old, then you have not evolved. And right now, this amazing playground planet Earth that is sailing through the cosmos does not need more spiritual children with loud opinions. It needs adults who can hold complexity without collapsing. It needs people to stand in their spiritual maturity and be willing to acknowledge the polarization that is experienced in the world. They need to stand in the truth and see that whiteness is a concept that has shaped much of the world's politics, And it is being used as a way to hold people down, that misogyny exists in the world, that heterosexism exists in the world, and anything we do that separates us from one another is also something that we are using to separate all of us from the oneness. We need people to stand in the truth that oneness not only means other people, but it means this beautiful playground that we call home, that we've, quite frankly, been abusing, that we haven't honored. And if you are struggling with ways that you can see how that might be showing up in the world, go pull up some videos of some of the houses in Corolla that are collapsing into the sea. Pull up the videos of the flooding that happened in the mountains of North Carolina 2 years ago. Like we are invited into the urgency of this moment because, well, the labor pains are getting a lot closer together as we birth a new reality. So I'll pause on polarization for a moment, because polarization can often feel like that we're just talking politics, and it's not. It's not political, it is developmental. Right? Because when any of us has an identity that feels threatened, if any one of us feels threatened, don't our backs like get a little more rigid? Don't we feel like we have to toughen up? And I can see it in I can see it in the people that I know that love me, that appreciate me, that find some inspiration maybe from some of the things that come through me on Sunday mornings. But when I stand in front of a congregation and I talk about whiteness, I can see that some people are like, oh, do we have to talk about this? But it's an invisible norm that shows up in the world today. And maturity requires that we examine the norms that benefit us without shame, but with responsibility. I was described this week to one of my colleagues. Oh, Todd, he's the gray-headed man, right? I thought I was known for my laugh. See, I have to examine the norms that support me and help me move easily through the world. And I look a certain way, and I wield authority, and I wield power. I walk with confidence. I learned how to walk with confidence because the meek child that I wanted to be was always afraid of getting beat up because I was not masculine enough. And now, if I wear the wrong outfit, if I have on a red shirt and tan pants and I walk into a Target, everyone thinks I work there and that I'm a manager because I walk around with authority. It was a protective stance. And I have to be aware of the norms. I have to do some examination to know how do these norms benefit me? But then how can I take responsibility for having this privilege and then use it in this laboring process to bring a new experience of love into the world? A new experience of oneness into the world. See, this is what I know now, is that if we benefit from systems that we did not design, as an adult, we have to ask, how will we participate in the transformation to live into Unity's overall mission, which is to create a world that works for all? How will we live into a system that I did not design? How will you live into the system that you did not design, but it is here? And how will you do that and participate in transformation so that we have a world that works for all? If we continue to treat this playground of planet Earth as an object instead of as an organism, then we are children. We are adolescents. Brummett references this truth, and he says that we are like cells in one body governed by a divine evolutionary pattern. Has anybody ever wondered, what exactly does Reverend Todd mean when he says that we are all individualized expressions of the one? Each one of us here has our own physical, amazingly beautiful and diverse spacesuit that we are wearing as we sail in this playground on this rock that is sailing through the cosmos. And you are made up of 1 billion different cells. And each one of those cells is an individualized expression of you. Some of those cells are heart cells, and some are liver cells, and some are lung cells, and some are eye cells. And each one of those cells has its own divine purpose in your expression here in Playground Planet Earth. Now take that idea and enlarge it. And we are all individualized cells of the one. We are all individualized expressions of absolute good and unconditional love in potential. Because we're called, if we live from that oneness, if we live from that place in spirit, then we can show up as love. We can show up as the good that, that this vast intelligence, this divinity, God is desiring for us. And if we don't, we might make some decisions, we might have some beliefs, we might have some ideas that are not good. They're not good. Someone asked me about a talk, a recent talk, it may have been last week's. Do I believe that evil exists? Here, believing that I said that I did not believe in evil in the world. And I may have said that, and I want to be clear. I do believe that evil exists here in this playground planet Earth. That's not the unity teaching. Evil does exist because people are not living from the Christ of their being. They have placed all of their faith not in divine order. They have placed all their faith into this ego, into have and have not, into duality, and they seek to have it all, everything they want, without regard to other human life. That does exist here in Playground Planet Earth. But that is a deification. We have made God into our experience on this earth rather than the God being the spiritual source of all life. We have moved away from knowing that we are individualized as an expression of oneness into separateness. And if we, any one of us, anyone alive, and I don't say this with judgment, I say this with observation. Spiritual adulthood means acting like a responsible cell in the body of humanity. And I'll guarantee you that none of us in our divine spacesuits has a liver that intentionally tries to kill us. None of us intentionally has any cell or organ that wants to kill us unless it is separated from the divine order. When that happens, dis-ease shows up in the body. And dis-ease can show up in our consciousness if we don't take a leap and surrender this idea and this belief of separateness. And that can be challenging to do because we can get addicted. Anybody know of an addiction? Right? Our strongest addiction is to the belief about who we are. Our strongest addiction that we ever face in our life is to our ego. Believing that we are separate from one another, that we are separate from the oneness, that we are separate from God. And that can be very alluring, right? Because we can cling to our identities. We can cling to ideas of politics or ideas of race. We can cling to ideological identities. We can cling to generational things. We can cling to a family, right? And you ever known somebody that defended all of that as if it was very life itself? They defended who they are. You don't have to look far to find it. I'm reminded oftentimes that I'm from off, right? Because I don't really sound like I'm from anywhere unless I go home to the mountains of Virginia, and still I say some things that make me sound like I'm from off because my father was a Yankee. He really did say some stuff that sounded weird to my ear. Right, we defend these things, ignoring the deepest desire of our hearts. And the deepest desire of every living thing, every inanimate thing, of everything that exists in this manifest playground of planet Earth, that desire to return to source, to return to love. And stepping into our spiritual maturity, to be a spiritual adult, means that we loosen the grip of ego without losing the truth of our individualized expression of oneness. It's one of those odd little paradoxes that we have to relax this and still identify as an individualized divine expression. When we do that, we can become more uniquely ourselves and more deeply united at the same time. Isn't that cool? This is where our hope resides, in this truth, that both these things are true. We are birthing a new world, and to birth new worlds, we have to dance with chaos. Chaos is not our enemy. Avoidance is our enemy. Breaking down is part of breaking open. And Spirit spoke to me this week because I am weary. And maybe you're weary too. And Spirit said, weariness does not mean that you are failing. It means you're stretching. You are being pulled. The balloons are pulling at us to stretch. And the ground is resisting. The gravity of this situation is pulling us. And there is tension, and this tension is a place of growth. Our spiritual maturity, our spiritual adulthood invites us into a few commitments that I'm hoping you'll make today. And weariness can impact our ability to stand in these commitments, and so I really invite you to embody them. The first one is that we respond slower than outrage demands. Because if we don't respond slower than the outrage demands, then we are actually reacting. Children react. We need to respond. The second invitation for you is to examine your identity without defensiveness. Your identity without defensiveness. How has your gender, your race, your religion, all of these boxes that, if you look at the demographic forms and you want to pick out all these things, how has your age and when you were born and the life that you've lived, how has that created in you this little box that helps make you believe you're separate? And where is your comfort in that separateness in a system that was designed to oppress people? Do it without defensiveness. And maybe do it without anger for your minister, but if you want to get angry with me about this request, that's okay too. I can handle it because it's not my idea. It came through me, not from me. And then again, take at least one concrete action this week that is aligned with love. Take at least one concrete action that is aligned with love this week, that is inviting us to birth a new consciousness. And it doesn't have to be some grand action. If the captain is at sea and he realizes, if I stay on this course, I'm eventually going to end up in France. but I really want to be in England. He doesn't spin the wheel really hard while he's, just outside of Cape Lookout. He just turns it a little bit and then stays consistent with that. So we're looking for small, consistent, sustainable shifts in who we are. And as we make those small, sustainable, consistent shifts, we change the direction. And we invite in a new consciousness. And while it's great and wonderful if you got a box of candy for Valentine's Day, or a plushie, or whatever way you decided to experience Valentine's Day, enjoy that. But allow love to become the organizing force of your behavior. What would love do? What would love do? What would love do? What would Source do? And do that. Right now, more than ever in the history of my life, I know that I am not a spectator. And if we are alive in our physical spacesuits on playground planet Earth, hurling through the cosmos, right now you do not get to be a spectator. You do not get to sit back and watch what happens. You are an individualized cell in the becoming of a new consciousness. And that means you cannot meet immaturity with immaturity. Hold the balloons, hold the divine ideas and let them pull you. Dance with the chaos. Choose breakthrough. Your spiritual adulthood is not optional now. And love is not fragile. Love is not fragile. Love is like the wind. And I don't know if you have ever seen the path of a tornado, but the wind is a mighty force to bring change. And gravity's going to try and hold you down, and I need you to leap. Leap in the direction of love. The love and the hate we give becomes the house we live in. And I want to build a house of love with each one of you. And that is what I was invited to share today. And I am so grateful that you listened. I love you.
Thank you, Rev Todd, for challenging us, for challenging a way for us to be able to use them, and that we can't just sit around. We have to actually do the work. We have to actually do the work. We have to do what must be done. I learned what must be done. They see the way beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Are you gonna do it? Do what must be done. Do what must be done. See that way beyond the horizon and do what must